Oh, yes, we are. We're ready to rock out another health, wealth, and happiness mastery training. This one has been keeping me up at night because here's what I know. I'm going over it with my oldest daughter, planning for adulthood, as we call it. How do you go through and set your life up so that you're not burying yourself in debt right out of the gate, coming out of high school, all those kind of things. So we're doing scenarios. And I know the things that I reveal and cover for you in this training may set you on a trajectory to have a much better life, or think about ways to perceive things differently now, to have a much better life both now and in the future too. And it's amazing the little dials you change in the ways we think and the ways we spend and the ways we perceive money can really have a profound effect on how we experience life, how we reduce fears, reduce scarcity, like that idea of security and safety, and then really go after living a more full life, just having freedom, even if it's just here in your mind, right? So I really want to set the stage here for us to assure I'm taking care of you. As always, if you have any questions about what we cover, something that isn't clear, I didn't do a decent enough job illustrating or challenging you or helping you think about certain aspects of this, please comment or email me or let me know. I will film a bonus video just so I can take care of you. That's my promise to you, to be there for you, to help you, to take care of you, to give you unconditional love. I don't say that lightly because a lot of people, especially as we've gone through reflection, as we brought on the new decade, have said, Char, I look back over the last decade, you're one of the only people who's been there for me, supporting me, championing me on, going after, helping me think about, dreaming bigger, going after bigger ambitions than what I would have done otherwise. And I take that so incredibly seriously. So if that's happening for you, know that's normal. Know this, you have me, and I have a host of people that could help you too in terms of really being around, and we'll talk about this as we get into today's training, being around mentors, people that uplift you, challenge you to think bigger, be bigger, do bigger. Does that all make sense? So that being framed, let's go through and start with the big picture why. Why is it important for us to really think about living into our best lives financially? It is all part of those beautiful 5 P's, so we'll make this quick because today's training is pretty heavy duty. But I would love for you to assess. As you know, I reward for participation. So I'd love for you to assess how you're doing as we go through each of these beautiful 5 P's that I teach from, live from. I hope I do a good job role modeling for you. And try to really help other people get dialed in, because here's the thing. When you hit these, it not only helps your energy, your mental clarity, vibrant zest for life, but it also helps you feel better, helps you dial in your physical vibrancy. Because I can tell you, I just got in from a beautiful run, and I just want to make sure I was fully charged, ready to serve you. And I was like, man, did I feel purposeful. And that's the first P. And I felt enthused, emotionally engaged about it. Like I'm doing it for the right reasons. Not that I got to go out and run, but I was out there really enjoying it, seeing nature, seeing people out, just enjoying this beautiful Florida weather on this beautiful day. I was really feeling the joy from it. I was really feeling like I'm living productively, because I know in order to be my best with you and I right now, I have to be higher energy than I used to be. When I was like 270 pounds, I was kind of plopping around from sugar buzz to sugar buzz, and I was not feeling good. And you could see it in my face. You could feel it when I talked to you. And that's not who I want to be. And I'm so incredibly blessed to have gone through in 2011 and 2012 my own journey in high performance that really painted the frame for me on what I was missing from the previous basically 2 decades of going like this with my weight and my energy. And it was through that process, we call it the high performance core sessions now, of getting clear, knowing what supports my energy, what doesn't, knowing exactly what I needed to do to be more courageous, to really own the conversation with myself, especially people around me who weren't terribly supportive when I would make changes. They say they were, but when the changes were starting to go into play, oh, you should do that. Why are you doing that? Those kind of things. And it was sabotaging. And I let it sabotage. To be productive, to have influence over myself and others, not manipulation, but helping people to their benefit and to mine. These are all principles that we coach on. So blessed to be a high performance coach, going through the core sessions, charge sessions, the declaration, our brand new leadership sessions, which are going awesome in our mastery community. Love them. So that being said, if you feel at this point, in line of everything I shared, now I've been kind of all over the place, you need more clarity, energy, courage for yourself, for others, have the conversations that need to be had that can take you to that next step in life, more productivity, more influence, by all means, know that I'm here to support you, and we have a beautiful mastery community filled with certified high-performance coaches too that are more than happy to help you. It all starts with filling out the high-performance application, high-performance coaching application. It's linked below. If we can help you feel better in life and go after a higher level of energy, feel more positive, more productive, more passionate, more purposeful, isn't it worth it? Oh, I love being on this journey with you. Thank you so much for giving me the time, being here, committed to your own personal development, self-improvement. I hope I've painted the frame of why this is important. Let's go through the 5 Ps together now and assess ourselves. Over the last month, how purposeful have you felt in your life? And if you do, in your own business or in your business or in a business or with a team, in general, how purposeful have you felt in general? Life, business, whatever that is for you, in the last month. 0, not purposeful at all. 10, crushing purpose. I'll give you some time to fill that in. We reward for participation. So if you're watching us in the replay or live, go ahead and comment how purposeful you felt. And I'll add this, why? Why have you felt purposeful? Why have you not felt purposeful? Just real quick clip. Why? Next, how passionate, emotionally connected to life, to what you're doing, your work, whatever that is for you, have you felt in the last month? 0, not passionate at all. 10, owning it. Anything there for you? I got to tell you, as I go after my word of the year, which is scale, my word of the decade is scale. My word of the year is extreme focus. My passion dipped because scale is scary. When you really get, and Tim Ferriss just released a post this week about how be careful wishing for popularity. Not that I'm going after huge popularity, but here are the things that show up. And I know what he's saying is true based on the sheer numbers of people that we served in my previous couple businesses ago, actually, Internet Services of Michigan. And what I mean by that is you get to serve so many people, you're going to find people who they have emotional or mental disorders, and they're just not right. And boy, are they on the hunt. They're neutral or negative to tear you up, tear you down, accuse you of things, just crazy stuff. So I noticed that when I read through that article, my passion dipped. And I'm like, maybe scale isn't something I should go after. So I had to go back, and we'll talk about this up here. I had to go back to my vision and say, you know what, I've got to not worry about that, even though in my mind there's sharp images of what happened when we grew our business so big. Just crazy stuff. And if you want, I'll tell you one story. We had a person, this may help you kind of frame for what I'm talking about. We had a person who had a computer that was a cheaper computer at the time. This is back in 1998. Cheaper computer with a cheaper, what they call a modem. That's the device you connected your phone line into. And that person lived in a place where the phone lines had static on them. And static and modems meant disconnections. Well, cheaper modems. And slowdowns and all this stuff. And they blamed it on us. And he came in drunk on I want to say it was like a Saturday. It was like 9 a.m. And my wife was up front handling things. And he's spitting on her, screaming at her, doing all this crazy stuff, threatening her. We had to call the cops, all these kind of things. And what we found was when you attract a lot of people, you're going to find people like that. It's just the nature of numbers. That's what Tim Ferriss reviewed. And I noticed, the reason I'm telling you the story is it dipped my passion. But I had, as a high performer, the fuel to re-up it. I had to go out on a walk and really think about, is scale something I really want? Yeah, it is. To really affect positive change in mass numbers. And that might be hundreds, might be thousands, might be tens of thousands. I don't know what that looks like. I just know I'm going to put goodwill in the world and do the things necessary to go after that over the course of 10 years. And that's one of the side effects of it. So I'm also planning for it. So I hope this helps. Just to be open and vulnerable with you helps me. It's really, really critical as part of what we teach in high performance and what we're going over today. Open, vulnerable, courageous is a huge theme to getting money mastery, especially when you're managing money with others. Husbands and wives, you might know what I'm talking about. Does that all land for you? So, would love to know as we come back to the 5 Ps. Purposeful, passionate. Score 0 to 10 in the last month. How are you doing? If it's below an 8, share one thing you might be able to do to level it up. I noticed my score went to 7. I was like, ugh. So I had to go on a walk. I had to bring my vision back online, and that's an example of me leveling that up. That'll make sense? Next up is positive. How well have you been doing the last month at keeping a positive mindset? Has that been going well for you? Have you found yourself going neutral or negative like I did with the scale thing and then having to course correct and adjust? Anything else showing up for you? A couple people in our master community had to let go of certain relationships. One of them was a person working for somebody else, and that person they were working for was constantly demeaning, screaming, just negative, negative, negative. Finally had to let it go. We're going to work on creating a new vision and going after it. And I just want to make sure if that's happening for you, there are other options. Please, please, please. If you don't have anybody to talk to about it, please let me know. I'm happy to have that conversation with you. Happy to help you there. So how positive have you been or how well have you been doing at keeping a positive mindset over the last month as you think about that for you? Any ideas? Has there been times where you fell apart, but you have great practices in play to level yourself back up? That's the mark of a high performer. High performers don't have bad days. They have bad moments because they know, whoa, where'd that come from? They have the observer mindset. They're in it and they're owning it. And they're like, no way, I know what I need to do. This thought, phone call situation usually would tear me up. But I know I need to go out on a walk. I need to get big picture perspective. I need to talk to my friend, my brother, my sister, whatever that is, and just get this out. Talk it through. Do you have practices like that in play for you? That's critical towards keeping a positive psychology, positive mindset. I would dare say the other side of it is to have growth friends, people who are willing to help you. And if you feel like you don't have a growth friend, you do now. I am honored to be and have that capacity in my heart to be that growth friend for you. Cool? Oh, love this stuff. You're going to love what we're covering today. Thank you so much for being here. This is so, so powerful. Next P is productivity. Over the last month, how productive have you felt? And again, high performers view productivity as going after their life's work, their life's ambition. Maybe at the baseline level, they have a clearly defined bucket list and they're moving forward with it. Does that make sense? While handling their priorities and responsibilities. So how well have you been handling your priorities and responsibilities? But bigger question here, how well defined are your life's ambitions, your life's work? And have you been working towards them every day? Or at least thinking about them every day, and then maybe blocking time towards them as you move through time. Like I love this analogy. If I was to like helicopter into your life and just parachute right into you, and I opened your schedule with you and we looked, have you been allocating time towards the things that matter for the big picture? So that when you look back on your life, maybe 10, 20, 30 years from now, if you're blessed to be here, and you see, yeah, you know what? I did work towards these things. I have no regrets in that area. You've been going after it? If you have, awesome. If you haven't, might be time to pivot. So how have you been doing the last month? Living productively. 0? Not at all. Don't even know what that is. 10, crushing it. If it's below an 8, would love for you to share one thing you're committed to doing. Maybe in light of the illustration I just gave. Time blocking, 1 50-minute time block every day towards sorting out, going after, creating that clarity for you towards your life's ambitions, your life's work. And if you need help there, let me know. I'll direct you to some resources. We'll go from there. Finally, and this is the big topic of today, profitability. How profitable has the last month been for you? 0 to 10. What's showing up there for you? I love to think about profit. We're going to cover this, and I'll just cover it right now. You have half of your income covering your break-even. You have a quarter of your income going for fun and adventure. Whether that's now, maybe in that quarter of your income, you're doing some stuff now, like going to the theater, the movies, whatever that is. but you're also saving for bigger things like a trip to France, Europe, wherever that is for you. And then you save the last quarter or pay debt down or both for the future. Save for the future or pay debt down with the last quarter. The biggest trick, and this is what I'm working with my daughter, is to see how we can create a scenario where she can create income. We'll say, a certain amount of income, and half of that goes to living. But that living, and we'll talk about this too, is in an investment property, an asset. Not a liability, not just throwing money out the door, but something that she can grow or that can grow with her. Oh, it's such a great conversation to have. So for you, profitability. How profitable have you been along that kind of guideline, number 3 here, in the last month? What shows up there? 0? I don't even see the money. It just flows out and I'm in debt. And that's fine. No judgment. If you want some help with that, I'm here for you. I'm more than happy to help you kind of sort out and create what we're going to talk about, a vision, a strategy, and a plan for you. Or I'm owning it. I'm filling those buckets. I'm handling my break even. I'm going after living a full life, recognizing that the old mentality, my grandpa would share this, I'm going to work for 30 years and then I'm going to go enjoy life. He didn't have his health the way he wanted. He had neck issues. Stuff like that hindered him from having the most fun in his retirement years. Does that make sense? Today's kind of mindset is, let's work and enjoy life as we're doing it. You follow? Is that cool? All right. This ends the big picture perspective. I hope brought some clarity for you, some ideas, some challenges for you to move forward with. Let's dive into the training on money mastery, 10 lessons learned, and I'll dare say confirmed in the last decade. And what I mean by that is some of these things I've already known, and some of these things, like I got confirmation of them in the last 10 years, from the last 35 years or so of me being, actively pursuing money mastery. Is that helpful? That being said, at the end of every year, and recently has been the end of the year, it's usually the beginning of the next year actually, I review all of my statements. I review all of my spend. Like, just kind of flip through them all, and I have them all saved for the decade. And I ask, and I love doing this exercise. If you have your statements from 10 years ago, it's a lot of fun. What was I spending money on then? What am I spending money on now? And are these things bringing me enjoyment or helping me, and this is one of my big questions, serve my purpose? Now keep in mind, it's not just about helping you in this context. That's a part of my purpose. My other part of my purpose is having fun and adventure with my girls and my family. Another part of it is going out and exploring the world. That's living purposefully for me. You follow? Have there been any things in there that robbed me from that experience? Like I spent money on something that, you know what? That was a huge waste of money. Not only did it felt good maybe in the moment, but it did not lead towards future enjoyment or future purpose. Now this is outside of necessities like toilet paper and paper towel and all that kind of stuff. Does that all make sense? How are we doing so far? We're kind of warming the conversation up. So the very first lesson, and these are mine, and I'm not a financial advisor or anything like that. I'm not giving you financial advice, just to be completely open and transparent. These are just my lessons, and these are the lessons of the people I've had the honor of coaching, now thousands of sessions into high performance coaching and business entrepreneur coaching as well. The first lesson is, do I have, and I'll ask it to you in the form of a question, a proper mindset? Meaning, am I clear about my vision, strategy, and plan for how I can live a fully engaged, vibrant life, live within my means, and this was something that came to me in the last decade, have an observer mindset, and I'll show you why that's important in a minute, and understand the power of questions. So let's break this down. And let me ask you this out of the gate. Do you have documented somewhere a vision, strategy, and a plan for how you want to live life? How you want to spend money? And I would also say, and we'll talk this through, and this is part of the business internet mastery work that we do, how you want to create income, like what you're doing to create revenue. And are you living into it? Are you taking decisive action on it? So let me kind of break this down for you. This is kind of a really powerful illustration in many ways. The vision that I had, and I'm going to bring it up Got a picture lined up for us. The vision that I had when I was not living a masterful life financially. This was back in 2000 through 2004. Back when we sold the business, October 10th of 2000 through 2004-5, I was just not in control of that. It wasn't actually we had designated that as my ex-wife's work, and I kind of tried to help, but I didn't really know what I was doing so much. For us personally, I did in business, but not like personally. I really didn't have a clear vision of a lifestyle that could live within my means, but I got one quick. So when I went through my divorce and up to my divorce, my coaches at the time, thank you, Heather and Dale, 2004, and Paul, 2004 and 5 said, Char, you really need to work through the formula for change. And I've taught the formula for change in our previous trainings and have a YouTube video out on it, how to tell if it's time to end a relationship. And the most important part of that was to create a future vision where I was living within my means and living a fully purposeful life. And for me, that meant finding a place where I had this, but wasn't wholly responsible for it. I took this picture on my run in this morning. Hot tub, big pool. That's where I live. And this is a big part of it. And I'm so looking forward. Later this month, we're going to have Rob here for a couple of days from our mastery community. Rob, you and I are going to have so much fun. We'll probably work poolside and really go after creating your business, tuning your offers, building what needs to be built, really going after why it's important for you to do it. He's the big winner from last year's huge giveaway at the end of the year. So excited for us. But here's the idea. I had these things when I lived in a big, big house, and I had to pay for the upkeep and the maintenance of all this. And when I pivoted to a better vision of living within my means, I recognized that inside of a huge condo complex, a high-rise condo complex, I could pay a lot less money, have a lot less risk and responsibility, because there's people that handled this, our condo association manager and the team. So envision that to heat the pool for me in the big house, I call it, where we moved in 2000, and I lived there till 2000, it was 2002 is when I moved in actually, through 2005. Just to heat the pool in the winter to a swimmable temperature was like $500 a month. And it was an electric bill. Not good, in my opinion. For others, that might be just, hey, that's part of living. Fine. Not bringing judgment to that. What I'm saying is now, here, I pay as part of association fee. These pools and hot tubs are kept heated at a much, much less rate. As a matter of fact, that's the same rate I pay per month after we subtract internet costs from the condo association. Does that make sense? So my risk and responsibility is removed because of the condo association fee. That is handled, it's like insurance. That handles if something goes wrong, they handle it. I don't have these bills and these pool guys coming out or gals coming out to do that work. So it was really clear to me that I wanted a vision where my risks and responsibilities were reduced, but I still had the amenities. And I still could get out and enjoy. I didn't have to manage these things. So I really wanted to make sure we started this conversation off with mindset. And a big part of this is what we talked about up here, observer mindset and the power of questions. How can I love Gary Keller's work, a couple other people, how can I simplify my living so that the other aspects of the amenities become non-items? What I mean by that, how can I live in a way where I have a simple life with lower risk and responsibility, but access to amazing things? Did I do a good job demonstrating that or illustrating that for you? So the meta here, the big picture part of this for you is this. How can you really live a life that you know is rewarding and fun for you now while reducing expenses and risk and responsibility? It's pretty deep, isn't it? Coming out of the gate with that. It's like, we're on. Any thoughts? My challenge for you is to really think about that. If you need, watch the replay, go back over this. This is critical. I'm living an incredibly simple life with a high level of fun and a high level of access to just awesome things. To the left here, there's a bridge that goes into a park. I used to have to mow a lawn when I grew up, 3 acres. I think 5 acres out of our 10 was mowed. And we had a softball, we had a big field, we had all this stuff. And there was a lot of risk and responsibility with that. Now, my risk and responsibility is I better not trip walking to the park and opening the gate. and bringing whatever sport we want to play. You follow? That's the lifestyle I've created, and I live incredibly lean. People can't believe how lean I live from a finances perspective. That's why I'm so excited about this for you. Then trust me, when people see my lifestyle, they're like, oh my gosh, you're lucky. I'm like, no, this was years and years of vision, years and years of planning, years and years of strategy, and taking decisive action. I was just going over, we're doing a lot of work in Ancestry.com right now. And if you haven't gone in there, they have a part of it where you can go back through all yearbooks that they've scanned and they've indexed by name. So you go into this searchable library they have of yearbooks from the United States from 1900 through, I think, now. And you basically type in somebody's name and it searches for it. And I'm looking through all this stuff and I'm seeing, oh my gosh, I wish I could have just injected this stuff into my high school self. Like, just, Char, I know you don't want to hear some of this stuff right now, but here's what you consider this. Cool? And go after that. Really, really powerful. Then I wish I could have told my high school self, you can have a lifestyle a lot sooner than you thought. Here's the path to that. And I got to tell you, the path is along these lines. So how are we doing? Number one, most important lesson, this is confirmed for me and learned, is vision, strategy, and plan. Be extremely clear about what life looks like and what, budget-wise, you do the research, you'll sort this out. What you can do to live into requires that you have a vision for what your dream life looks like. So that might be a challenge for you. Journal, document, what is my dream life? What are the things around me? What am I doing every day, or what do I have access to? So let me give you some fuel for that. One, I don't want to have a lot of responsibility. I had that in my 20s and my 30s. That was my big thing, my big aha when I did my vision work in 2004 and 5. So what kind of lifestyle is that? And I found out it's the condo lifestyle. And I love high rises. I don't know about you, but I love high rises, especially brand new ones. And that's what this was just built when I got it, when I got my unit in this condo. I want to have access to things and I don't want to have to drive. Because down in Florida during season, which is right now, it is a tricky endeavor to drive. It's like frustrating because you got people from all over the place and the lights are lined up and all this stuff. So I just want to be able to walk out and go. So in my vision, I said, one of the things that I know I need to do is eat healthier. So if there's a place within walking distance, there is, Sweet Tomatoes, if you ever heard of it, awesome salad buffet bar. I can literally walk, it's a 5-minute walk. If that happens to be around, I'll go there. Because at the time I wasn't a cook and I knew I was going to be on my own. And I'm still not a cook. I can make great high performance smoothies, but I can walk to that. I can walk across the street to Jimmy John's. I can walk across the street to Bonefish Grill. I can walk down to Target. I can walk to my bank. I can walk to the park. I can go for runs in the park, just like I did before we started shooting today. And also, I would love to have a pool that I didn't have to maintain because I went through it. I actually maintained our pool for a while and then hired somebody to do it. And I watched the guys come in, pretend they did something and leave. They didn't know I was there. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And the pool needed service. Like they just, because of the way that it was hidden, secluded. I don't have to worry about that. I would love to know the hot tubs are always working. And if they're not, I just let somebody know and they fix it. I don't have to deal with all the risk and responsibility of all that. That's what my vision was. That's how important it was. Also, having an observer mindset and making sure, you know what, when it comes to the vision or when it comes to spending, is this, if I buy this thing, will it help me live purposefully? Can I use it for the long term? Will it sit on a shelf in a year? What I discovered is I went through and became a minimalist back in 2006, got rid of 90% of my things, only had things that I could use and then play with and enjoy and have fun with my girls with. So that was like board games and like TV and video games. We love video games, these kind of things. I was able to trim out tons of stuff in my life. But then I looked, and we'll talk about that down here, I looked at things that I had bought that I used once. And I just did a summation in this shop that my ex-wife and I had created. And there was thousands of dollars there in stuff that we got, like saws and things like that we only used every so often. We weren't like woodworkers or like gardeners or anything like that. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that could go towards tickets to Europe. Trip to Europe. Really powerful when you have the observer mindset. Power of questions. Some of my favorite questions. First, will this thing help me serve purposefully or live purposefully? Can I use it long term? Another one, when I think about, will this bring joy to me and those around me? So this is like for meals, going out to an experience that's costly. But will we remember this? How will we remember this? Taking pictures and stuff like that. You follow? So these are some of the things that I think about living an extremely lean life, but having rich experience. So that's another question. Will this live into and be congruent with my identity of living a lean life and have rich experience? You follow? So critical. Spending a lot of time on mindset. Now, the second part, the second lesson learned and confirmed for me in the last decade is my behaviors. Have I used what I have? So I ask this question anytime I get that idea of buying something new. Have I used what I have? A couple books that I wanted to buy on certain tactics around marketing and high-level advanced work. I'm like, wait a minute, I already have that training. I was able to save money on buying new books and then revisited the training to see if it met the need of what the book was going to do as well. Didn't buy the book. That just happened in the last 3 weeks. So I challenge you, if you've bought courses or things, to really go back and integrate with them again, to assess your inventory of what you already own, so that when you go to buy new, you can make that comparison. Does that make sense? That doesn't only apply to courses and books and so on. It can apply to clothes. Have I used what I already have? Maybe it's time to pull all my clothes out of my closet and then move them around and get into a new rhythm with the different clothes that I haven't worn in a while, or try them on and see if they still fit or I still feel comfortable in them or they still do what I want them to do in terms of for meetings and stuff like that. Does that all make sense? I know I'm throwing a ton at you, but really critical here. What are the behaviors, the habits, the traits, the qualities that are supporting you in living a life? Profitable, money, mastery. Then the actual act. And I love this story. And I hope you do too. The way that I equated this is just my journey down this path, was when somebody said to me, Char, what's the one thing you did to lose the weight? And for me, just so you know the answer to that, it was I created a future vision of who I wanted to be physically and energetically and just mindset wise. And then I just reverse engineered that through our high performance work. And it happened to fall right into the buckets of what we cover in High Performance Habits, the book, but also in our core sessions, which are based on the book. Does that make sense? But I said, you know what the number one thing is putting a camera right at the end of my nose and watching what goes into my mouth. So as I'm putting stuff in my mouth, maybe there's a red dot, or I wear a watch or something that buzzes and said, okay, you've had enough of that particular thing. Now you're in the red zone in terms of growing and not supporting you, reducing weight and enlightening energy. Does that make sense? So what I'm challenging you to think about is, in the moment when you go to pull out the credit card, to have another habit, a cue followed by a routine, followed by a reward that says, hey, whoa, back up. Do I really need this? Is this purchase something that's a necessity for me now, or should I wait 24 hours? Or, in context for today, Apple's made it incredibly easy. I'm pointing at my laptop. You put your finger down to Apple Pay, or you just hit Apple Pay wallet, clink. If you click, swipe, tap, whatever you want to call it, what's the mindset there? Because you're going to catch yourself. I think you'll catch yourself like I have. Oh, I got to rethink this. Didn't actually need this. How is this thing that I'm buying going to help me? And then ask those power questions. Live more purposefully, bring more joy into my life, bring joy into somebody else's life? Or is this something I really don't need? So yes, I've put back a Twix bar or two in the last few months. Because Twix bars were my thing. And every once in a while, I'll go, oh. And then emotional impulse is overridden by intention. Something we teach in high performance. Impulse versus intention. So I'm like, that was an impulse. Put it back. Intention. And I might have another healthier treat, like some blueberries or raspberries or something like that. Does that make sense? I hope this helps. So it's like, catch yourself in the actual act. What's going in my face? Oh, that's not helping. What am I swiping the card on? Oh, should I be buying all this? Let me think about this. You know what? let me get out of line and let me sort this out. What am I finger pressing, swiping, tapping, clicking, whatever that is? Is this helping me move forward or is it not? Does that follow? You can, and we'll talk about this right here, number 4. Once you know the power of the dollar, life is game changing. We'll go over, I think we'll just go over that right now because we covered number 3. The power of the dollar. Once you understand that $3 a day, $85 a month, $255 a quarter, all equal $1,000 a year, especially at the day level, you can make pivotal changes. Like a candy bar, it's what, $3? You have one of those a day? It's $1,000 in candy bars a day. Not that you have one every day. But you get what I mean, right? Coffee, huge. It's $5, $6 massive grande coffee at Starbucks or something like that, times a daily habit. Whew, there's a couple grand a year. You follow? So going back to here, it's like, okay, what am I buying that's not necessity? What am I buying that maybe gives me joy in the moment, but not for the long term? And maybe that's okay, not bringing judgment, but really thinking that through. You follow? So once I understood the power of the dollar, then I looked at everything differently. I looked at my daily purchases and I was getting the cinnamon dulce latte at Starbucks. That was like my favorite go-to drink when I was, just before I really made a commitment to increasing energy and losing the weight. This was 2010, 2011. That was my thing. You'd always see me one in the morning. And I understood the power of the dollar and my vision. And I was like, this is not congruent with who I want to be in the person or in the future. You follow? These are all pivotal conversations towards really getting more mastery in life. And ultimately building the case for living a more free life, which we're going to be working towards as we go down through our lessons learned. So that all being said, let's kind of recap, because I know we've kind of skipped around and stuff like that for the first 4. First and foremost, do you have a clear mindset, vision, strategy, and plan towards what lifestyle you want to live? Have you done the research? And today it's never been easier with the power of Googs to go through and sort out what that can look like. And if you need help getting pointed in the right direction, let me know. There is a better way to live. I've helped people go from $10,000 a month in recurring expenses and one-off variable expenses down to $2,500 a month. And they haven't shortchanged or lost any aspect of feeling life. They just removed a ton of pressure. And they will qualify as saying more freedom because they don't have that high $7,500 extra a month in responsibility and risk. Does that all make sense? Whew. Really, really powerful. Do you have the observer mindset? Do you have a list of good questions to ask yourself? Especially when you're in emotional buy mode or if you're in acquisition mode. Like the very best purchase I made in 2010s, the last decade, was the very camera I'm looking at your beautiful face in, the Panasonic Lumix GH5. This has been a powerhouse. It's helped film everything from the end of 2017, I think it was beginning of 2018, on, and it has just handled it. Doesn't overheat. It takes care of business. It live streams. It does everything. It works great with my microphones and all that other stuff. The best, most purposeful purchase ever. Second is keeping my laptop up to date. The latest, I have the 16-inch MacBook Pro fully loaded because that is the gateway for me to serve purposefully, to take the message and put it out in the world. Those 2 things are all I need to help you and others improve their lives, grow their businesses. Well, and the knowledge and that kind of stuff. I'm talking about the physicality, the purchases. And that is all part of this. What do I need? And if you were with me when I got this camera, I sold like all these other cameras and solidified on one. I said, all right, I'm going to try this. It feels weird because I only have one camera and I'm a guy that needs backups and stuff. And it's all I needed. I just simplified my life, reduced a lot of expense, a lot of risk, a lot of responsibility. Behaviors. Have I used what I have? The actual act. When I'm going out to do something, what's the trigger, the cue that pivots my behavior? Or at least I ask a power question. Do I really need this to explore? Nope. I'll have something else that I already have at home. I'll use what I already have. Does that make sense? Goal. Half of break even. So in terms of your total income, this is what I'm working with my daughter on. I want half of her income to go to taking care of her break-even expenses for her to live life. Groceries, she probably won't be paying rent. We're going to try to get some sort of asset. So mortgage payment, insurance, possible car payment, all of these things. A quarter of it to go to fun and freedom. Some of that will go to the future for bigger things like Disneyland or Disney World or adventures around the world. Part of it will go to monthly fun, just handling things on the weekends or at night, whatever that is. And then a quarter of it will save for the future and pay off any debt. She is at a zero debt. She's actually not in debt at all right now. And she's zero debt. And we're aiming to assure as she goes through this critical next 4 years that debt is not even part of her language. And I'm not giving her anything. Like a lot of people are like, oh, you're going to take care of her college. We're not giving her anything. We're setting her up for success from a mindset perspective. To be open, vulnerable, and honest, I might help her with an investment property by helping her with a down payment. And that would be it. And we've been very clear about that. Because I want her to build her own business. She's an entrepreneur spirit. Imagine that. I want her to build her own business and really get the entrepreneur, put in a entrepreneurial hot seat to understand what it means to go after that. You follow? Critical, critical, critical. So the actual act. And I think we drilled that home. Next time you're putting something in your mouth, next time you're swiping it, next time you're giving cash, next time you're clicking, tapping, whatever it is, asking that question. The goal, power of the dollar. $3 a day, $85 a month, $255 a quarter, $1K a year. That's really critical when we look at monthly cable bills, monthly phone bills, insurances that pay by the half here. We've been able to save just working with people, having them do the research. I think zebra.com, there's a couple sites out there that will kind of figure this stuff out for you based on your credit score and stuff like that. They'll figure out where you can get the best rate with the same level of service so that you can trim out. And I've helped people save $400 a year to $600 a year insurance because they hadn't paid attention to that. And their driving records were good. Their credit scores are good. And next thing you know, we're just typing their stuff in. And they're like, oh my gosh, that's tickets to a vacation or gas and lodging for a vacation in the next year. You know what I mean? Like these savings are real for them. $1,000 a year. So that being said, let's kind of pivot this to bigger, broader scale things. More conceptualized ideas, the lessons that I've learned over life that have been confirmed in the last decade. Cash flow for life. And I want to thank one of my best friends from way back, Mark McCara, double M. He actually has that domain and he helps people live into that. Cash flow for life and freedom. We built the case for it. When we have income coming in that's well in excess of what's flowing out. And most of the United States, according to stats, is not living this way. So if that's you, that's totally fine. And if you want to make a change, I'm your guy. And there's a lot of other resources I can refer you to or direct you to that can help you here. Totally fine, no judgment at all. Cash flow for life and freedom. Once we get that dialed in, where we're working life in the way things work to our advantage, everything changes. And I'm glad I realized this in the 1990s. And I'm glad I got clear on taking decisive action on it in the 1990s when I was in my 20s. Because life has been so much better than it could have been. And we'll go break down how. As you may know, I sold my big business because I understood a life theme that we're going to teach in October 10th of 2000. And have been able to live a really freeing life, doing what I love. Even though I would challenge people to say, you can do what you love even if you're strapped for cash. You just got to sort out the technique and understand your offers and all these other things that we teach. That's not a conversation for now. But cash flow for life is everything. So my challenge for you, as you think about this one, is to look at what the inflow of cash is and ask yourself, are there any ways that I can up-level the inflow? If you're working with me in our Business Internet Mastery community, you understand we have offers. We have what we call infinity offers that are based on recurring revenue. And our job is to market and scale those. You follow? So we're not leveraging one time for money, essentially. We're serving many with the power of 1 hour or 2 hours of time per month. Monthly membership programs is what I'm talking about. Cash flow for life and freedom. So that being the premise, let's dive into the blue stuff here. And we have the first one, and we've been building the case for this. Lesson learned and confirmed. reduced recurring expenses equal personal freedom. So let's go back over to the vision for a minute. I could have lived in a house at the same square footage as what I have here. It's like 2,400 square feet. 3 bedrooms, 3 baths. I could have lived in a house. I chose to live here. My risk and my responsibility and my recurring expenses would have been much higher in a house. Just because I would have been responsible. I did the math on it at the time. I would have been responsible for a lot more. I chose to live in a high rise where all that stuff is managed for a monthly fee, part of the association fee. Does that make sense? And have this. So in my mind, I have reduced expenses, which by itself, for so many people, including me, creates more personal freedom. Just a sensation of financial freedom. Oh, I got my expenses down. And they're well within the means of what I'm bringing in. And I have this experience that I can go down anytime. Well, when it's not dark. That's the rule here. They don't have the proper lighting to have this open at night. Times, in fact, people get loud and bother the tower that's basically right here. So I can go down there any time during the day and enjoy 2 hot tubs. The seats, you can barely see them right here. Chaise lounges are awesome. Pool, chill, relax, work down there. They got Wi-Fi. And I have reduced expenses. If that doesn't excite you, then you and I need to talk. Does that make sense? It's one of the reasons why I just love going over this with you. So my challenge for you is, what is it in your lifestyle that maybe you got to look over, to think about expense-wise? The easiest way to do this is to assess, and I have it for you as a challenge over here on the right. We'll talk more about it as we get into the action part of our work today, the tactics. Print out your last 12 bank and credit card statements, highlight and ask questions on everything. Why are we spending money on this? Is there a way to reduce this? Is this a necessary expense, especially recurring expenses? Now, I do the same. Reduced variable expenses equal personal freedom. Like some people that I've coached, they're like, why does my husband or wife or whoever keep buying whatever it is that is $1,000 here and $500 there and $250 there? How can we curb that behavior? Change that mindset? And I tell you, the key for it is having a real clear vision. Because when you go to buy something and you're like, you know what, this is incongruent with the vision that I have for us or myself for a better tomorrow, there's less chance of being bought, or a higher chance of being bought and returned. Does that make sense? On their own volition, not because of guilt, just because, you know what, this doesn't feel right. You follow? Maybe there's a little guilt. So, huge piece number 6. Big lesson. And my challenge for you is real clear. Where can you reduce recurring expenses? I would challenge you, if you haven't done this work before, to set a goal in the next 6 months to reduce your recurring expenses by 10 to 20%. You're going to feel better for it. It hopefully will help you feel more freedom, more clarity, especially in light of everything we've built the case for and covered so far. You follow? I know I'm throwing a lot at you. And I hope this is helping you just a little bit or a lot, whatever that is for you. The next one is when you hear me talk about a lot. And this was the pivotal change that I made in 1992, built the case for in 94, started the business in 95, and was able to retire at the age of 29 at October 10th of 2000. And that is recurring revenue equals personal freedom. So let me explain. Up until 94, I was selling computers and handling it on a transaction by transaction basis. About 92, I was talking to, if you've ever heard the story, the owner of our building, Ed Aiken, and Ed, rest in peace, man. Thank you so much. I was so frustrated because some older lady who I felt highly compassionate for wanted the computer, and at the time, we added a ton of extra value by taking the computer to their house and setting it up. We allocated an hour of time for that, and it was budgeted in the price of the computer. I spent 4 hours with her. Didn't have a problem spending the 4 hours with her. The problem that I had was driving back, I'm like, how much did we actually make on that? Adding the profitability up, and it was $80. Like, that was a hard way of making $80. And I was thinking, there's got to be a better way. It's like I'm stomping up the stairs, and Ed's 4:30 on the queue, cracks a beer. Time to celebrate the day. And I go in there and I go, Ed, tell me something good. He looks at me, beer is good. And I was telling him about what I said. He goes, take a look at our business model. We're an insurance company. We keep people happy. They keep paying us a premium. It's like automatic ATM. I'm like, how can I possibly apply that to our business? And that got the gears going. Now, we did service contracts for business pretty quickly. That was the first way. But then the internet started to gain popularity in terms of the World Wide Web and access to it. And that's when we started the internet service provider. But because I made that high priority, the recurring revenue, 5 years later after we started it, that's what they wanted. People buy businesses. Businesses buy businesses if they have strong recurring revenue streams. And that was a major breakthrough for me. And a major celebration point, October 10th of 2000, when my lovely ex-wife and I got to celebrate, sell the business, basically win the lottery, buy a big motorhome and hit the road. You follow? So recurring revenue equals personal freedom. Leveraged, passive recurring revenue equals even more personal freedom. So the challenge for you that I have, and we talk about this at length in our business internet mastery trainings and work. And if you need access to that or you don't have access to that, let me know. I'm more than happy to provide that for you so you can get going on this right away if that's an endeavor or something you want to go after, is to really think about where can I create more passive recurring revenue. And as you may know, if you're part of our mastery community, simply referring people into our community, we're paying out around $1,400 to $2,000 every quarter. And all the people that I'm paying, all they did is connect people to me. And they keep getting money. Some of them, it's been over 2 years now. They're making an extra $1,000 a year just because they referred somebody to me in 2017 and 2018. You follow? So if that's an option, let me know. I'm more than happy to help you understand what that is. These two things paired, massive for pivotal shifts towards creating a lot of mind freedom, personal freedom, financial freedom. Not only in the short term, but in the long term as well. That don't make sense? I hope you're following. I hope this is landing for you. This is gold when it comes to the big life lessons. Next up, once you're in this rhythm and you're debt free, if you can handle it, a lot of people that I know are like, I can't even handle that, so I won't even go there. There's credit cards, and there's a website called bankrate.com that when you understand your expenses, you can take the ones that you have to have that are recurring and get the most percentage back on them being paid every month. So let me illustrate. I have an American Express card that pays me 5% back for any wireless mobile payments. Now I use AT&T. So every month that AT&T bill comes in and I get 5% as a kickback right away on it. So I'm getting money out of that. And I think that comes to like $150 a month for all the phones and things that I have, or $180 a month, I think it is. And then whatever that is, would it be almost 200 divided in half? So basically like $80 a year kickback, just for the natural progression of transactions I'd be spending money on anyway. There's 4% Costco gas. And we go through a lot of gas here in Florida trying to get people where they need to go and stuff like that. And I did the analysis. We're still in the profit on the 4%. Like it pays for the Costco membership times more. The Costco card also does 3% on travel and on restaurants. All of my travel goes on the Costco credit card because outside of the 3%, Costco provides a whole other range of insurances and things related to those transactions. Does that make sense? So this is a topic that could be its own training, but I just want to make sure you understand. Apple Card. I got into the Apple Card because I was buying my new equipment for the year, and that was my only purchase going into the new year, was getting everything I needed to operate at highest levels of efficiency for serving purposefully. They had a deal going at the end of last year, 6% on a huge purchase, because that laptop was not inexpensive. It was like $5,000-6,000. And boom, they gave me instant cash back, put it on Apple, what do they call Apple Pay? And I was using that to pay for other things. Does that all make sense? So the point with this particular lesson is to assure once you've got things dialed in and you've got a vision, strategy, and plan around, all right, now that I know these are my recurring expenses, how can I save even more by just paying them? Great site to sort that out is bankrate.com because it kind of groups, here's what I'm spending money on, here's cards that match, giving me percentages back on that. Another one, the Amazon store card. We migrated most of our non-perishable purchases, so like fruit and vegetables you still buy locally, to Amazon, and I use the Amazon store card. It gives me 5% back. And we're Prime members, and we shop at Whole Foods. Sometimes I call it Whole Wallet. And then boom, there's some Prime deals there. So we're tallying that up. More ways to save money. You follow? If this is boring you, make it fun. Go after it. Sort that out. Spend some time thinking about it. I just love this stuff. So if you're bored with it and you really want to own it, you and I can have a check-in call or a conversation, especially if you're in our mastery community. We'd love to support you in this way. It's so crazy when you think about the power of the dollar and you're like, you know what? If I'm spending $100 or $200 a month and I get 5% back on that, that's $10 a month times 12. That's $120 a year. Times different bills and things stack up. It could be generating $1,000 in recurring or $1,000 in revenue per year just by leveraging this guy. Really, really critical. One of the people that I work with has a couple trucks on the road and they were using a standard credit card. They switched to the Costco card, which is 4%. They're saving $700, $800 a year in gas costs. So crazy how this plays out. How are we doing? Pretty good? I know I'm throwing a ton at you, so I'm going to go back through number 5, 6, 7, and 8. And then we'll end with our last two, and we'll do our tactics, and we'll wrap this beautiful training up so we can get you set for rocking it out, moving forward today, in the future, making the 20s your best decade ever. And I hope this is helping live into that for you. First, cash flow for life. Once you understand the rhythm of outflow and inflow, got money coming in and outflowing, and it's dialed up so the money coming in is way higher in terms of total amount than the money flowing out, and you've got fun and freedom in there, and you've got saving for the future in there, and you've got taking care of your expenses, and you've dialed those in for an experience. Huge. And that's really what this is all about. Using the power of credit cards. If you can pay them off every month. That's the critical part to this. And I want to make sure. Because a lot of people that I've helped with this are like, Char, still running into minimum payments, stuff like that. So this credit card thing isn't working out for me. So they had to kind of just kill them all or go to one and make sure that's paid off or consolidate their debt in a couple cases. You follow? But once you're a finely tuned running machine, there's more money to be made by saving through the appropriate credit card at bankrate.com that can sort out. As long as you pay it off every month. That's the message that I'm telling my girls. Gotta assure you're in a good rhythm and you have a good setup in life. That's a huge part of today's training. Number 9, grow and learn. Pick 3 to 5 mentors. And I challenge you to read Robert Kiyosaki's The Grid, where investing is one of the big things that you can go after to create assets that you could rent. So Robert Kiyosaki is a great mentor for me. Tony Robbins' book, Unshakeable and Money. What's that one called? Unshakeable is one of them, and then the Money book. Money the Game, I think it was. That's a heavy-duty read, but Unshakeable is a little easier. Also, Stefan, and I'll make sure I link to Graham below the YouTube video. He's been incredibly helpful at condensing into 10 to 15 minutes what it takes you, like for me, in some cases, decades to learn. He's a YouTuber who's made great popularity in the last 2 years, just building out his channel. He's been really helpful towards a lot of these principles for the girls and I. So I hope that helps you. Got any mentors you feel like sharing? Challenge for you. And you know I reward for participation. So I'd love to know what's 1, 2, 3 mentors that you have that help you be more masterful with mindset, behaviors, money, in the big picture. Anybody there for you? It's okay if you put me on the list. Hint. I love supporting you in this way. Love that. Because it's everything about the last P and about the rest. Because when you can bump this stuff up and take care of this stuff's easier to have happen. You follow? Pretty cool. Last one, know and leverage the power of compounding interest. And if you need help with that, Google compounding interest. The really critical part of this is that 3% a year on $100,000 times 30 years grow, or not 3%, 7 to 8%, which is the average return. A year on $100,000 over the course of 30 years grows that massive as it compounds yearly. What we learned and what my girls and I did is we did it in stocks, and we're aiming for 1 to 3% per trade, and we're able to create another, let's see, $75K in revenue inside of 5 years. just barely trying through the power of compounding interest investing. If it doesn't make sense to you, go out, dig deep, research compounding interest and compounding investing. Really, really critical. That's the gate opener that David Bach teaches in The Automatic Millionaire. So that's a great place to start, by the way, to really help understand what that means and really put some time, energy, and effort into behaviors and mindset that help you towards those ends. Follow? Pretty critical. Pretty cool. Very powerful. So, Don't Learn Any Theory says we need to review what we've covered, starting from the top. Very top. Why is this important? To live purposefully, passionately, positively, productively, and ultimately profitably. In terms of money mastery, 10 lessons learned. Again, not a financial advisor in any way. These are just lessons I've learned. I want to share them with you, and lessons people I've coached have learned. First and foremost, really pay attention to your mindset. Have a clear vision, strategy, and plan, especially when you're going to buy things, so that that can be the fuel to hinder or enhance the right purchases for you. Observer mindset plus the power of questions. And I hope I gave you enough fuel there. Next, your behaviors. Have I used what I have as my gate opener for the 2010s, in the sense of not buying probably thousands of dollars of new things? Books, courses, that kind of stuff. The actual act, monitor what's going in your mouth. Monitor when you're about to swipe, click, tap, whatever that is. Put money out there. Is this, and whatever your question is. So for me, is this helping me live purposefully? Is this creating experience for me and others that I'll remember? Is this something that will help me grow my business? Is this something that will serve others? These kind of things. Goal, half of your income goes to break even. Expenses, we talked about that, mortgages, insurances, groceries, toilet paper, all those kind of things. Quarter of it, fun and freedom. Inside that quarter, you may have half of that go to future fun and freedom, and the other half go to this month, fun and freedom. Quarter of it, save for the future. That's 25% of your income towards the future. If you read David Bach's book, The Automatic Millionaire, that is the highest end of what people are typically saving. And if you have debt, pay the debt down. If you follow Dave Ramsey, his methodology is to pay the debt down first, then go after the future. You may be doing both, whatever that is for you. Know the power of the dollar. $3 a day, $85 a month, $255 a quarter, all or over $1,000 a year. Where can you save costs there? Cash flow for life. Don't think anything needs to be said. I think we covered it. When we get cash flow for life and break it down this way, the reducing of expenses, the increasing of income sets us up for feeling higher levels of mind, financial, and personal freedom. Also keeping in mind that risk and responsibilities conversation. You know, that's a little box down there. Making sure, are we living where we have lower risk, less responsibilities? I remember looking around our big house and going, if that breaks, there's $1,000. To fix my boat, which I owned a boat at the time, $2,000 every time they came out to tune it up. I'm like, wow, I should just rent. Because we don't use it every day. We use it maybe once a week. And we could rent a boat. It'd be a little more inconvenient, but I wouldn't have to worry about all this. And it'd be a lot less expensive than owning a boat. There's that saying, the first favorite day of having a boat is the day you sell it. The second is the day you buy it. And I totally agree with that. Next, 5% to 1% counts. Review bankrate.com, Amazon Store Card, Amazon Prime if you're doing a lot of those purchases. 9, grow and learn. Pick 3 to 5 mentors. Concentrate on investing and building competencies around that. And I talked about Robert Kiyosaki, Stefan, David Bach. Know and leverage the power of compounding investing, compounding interest. That is the 10 lessons learned and confirmed in the last decade. Now we're going to go ahead and switch to your action list. It's really critical, as we've gone through all this work together, that you have an action list of things you can take care of and go after right now. So the first one is a fun visualization exercise. You can do it while you're sitting where you're at, if you're at home. Look around and visualize your storage. What experiences could have been had? Like, what do you have around you that, you know what? There's a box of stuff over there, and if I look into it, I probably spent $50, $100, $250, $600. A couple of people have opened a box. They're like, I spent $2,000 on this, and it was fun for a minute, but this is my trip to England. This is my trip to Disney World. and it's sitting in a box. I'm going to sell this stuff on Facebook Marketplace. A couple people have, and just so you know, they've reported that Facebook Marketplace has been really helpful for moving stuff out of their house, like especially at the end of the year when they do cleanup. A lot of people I work with do that. So that's the first one. And I say storage too. If you have a storage unit, how quickly can you get that reduced? Unless it's specific things you're saving for antiques or memorabilia. But most people, the stuff in their storage unit, they could do without, and they wish they didn't have the storage unit that I've coached and helped. Number two, print out your last 12 month bank and credit card statements, highlight, and ask. So one of the things that I've taught previously in our master training sessions is to highlight in green things on the bank statement and on the credit card statements that were must purchases, that were green light, they were good. I would do it again if I was put in the same circumstance or it was a requirement. Highlight in yellow things, you know what, that seems a little high. Did we really need that? And in red, things that just gotta go. What was the behavior that drove the red purchases? Anything you can do there to remove those behaviors. That's been really powerful for me. And just so you know, at the end of every year, I do not import my credit card statements into my billing system. I actually enter them in. And I do that intentionally. So I go through per transaction and say, was that something I needed? I do the green, red, yellow exercise while I do it. It's therapeutic. It's a little tedious. I don't buy a ton in a year, so that works for me. But the idea is it really helps me paint a picture of what I'm committed to going into the new year and what I need to watch out for. You follow? So powerful. Number three, prioritize the 10 lessons. Schedule a week or a month for each. What do I mean by that? Each of these, you can set a monthly event in your calendar that you're going to work on for the month. Mindset. I'm going to create my vision, strategy, and plan this month or this week. Second month, behaviors. All right, now that I got the vision, I'm going to change my behaviors. I'm going to watch as credit card transactions are made on a weekly basis. I'm going to assess, where did I go wrong? What could I have done better? Where did I spend money that, you know what, didn't fall into my vision, strategy, and plan? Third, all right, the goal this month is to pivot my belief system around half of my money's going into break even, quarter into fun and freedom, quarter into saving for the future, or paying debt down. What things do I need to adjust about my mindset to really live into that? What things do I need to adjust tactically to live into that? Do I need to reassess where I'm living? I keep painting this picture like I'm in real estate, which I'm not. But if you're looking to live somewhere awesome, we'd love to have you here. We party it up. I know that for a fact. Does that all make sense though? One of these, in 10 months, at the end of 10 months, if you took 1 month for each, would your life be any better? Would you feel more purposeful? Would you have a little more emotional enthusiasm, more joy, more productivity, more profitability? Oh, this is so gold. Fourth, if something came up for you and you need help, you know, or you should know, or now you know, I'm here for you. Schedule a vision, strategy, planning, and action meeting with me. If you're in our master community, you get those every quarter. If you're not, reach out to me, we'll sort that out. Just want to make sure, as you know, I'm living and leading and loving, helping you live into those beautiful 5 Ps. So that ends our training. My job on this beautiful planet, as you know, is to help you live more purposefully, more passionately, more emotionally connected and engaged, more positively, more productively, and yes, more profitably. And I think this training crushed it. If it did not, or if you have more questions, comment below, reach out to me, whatever that is. I will assure I own that with you and take care of you. That's my job. Take care. Have a good one. Thank you so much. Bye. We rocked it. Yeah.